Companies who do not comply with the recent amendments to the country's labour laws will forfeit 10% of their annual turnover. According to the Department of Labour, the new laws are not well understood by industry players. Joining me in studio this evening is the Labour Minister, Mildred Oliphant. Minister, thanks so much for your time this evening. I think let's just take a few steps back and look at why these amendments were necessary in the first place.
The reason is that looking at what was happening previously, particularly on the issue that we have just raised, is because most of the companies were not complying, and it was easier for them to pay for not complying. So we thought that it will be easier to make sure that we enforce our laws, and that is why we have proposed that if the company has not complied for the 3 consecutive months or years, then we are going to link the percentage to the turnover so that they can be able to see how serious we are as the government. But at the same time, we have linked our amendments with the BBEE Code Act. Those who don't submit the reports earlier, then the Department of Trade and Industry will not renew their certificate. So those are the measures that we are taking so that everybody really must comply.
So this then is also about interdepartmental cooperation, ensuring that if the one department is doing the one thing, it works on the other side as well.
Yes, that's what we have discussed and agreed upon, because these laws are empowering those who are disadvantaged, and at the same time we want the companies to comply, because we don't want the companies really to gain profits on the expense of the workers.
One of the things also that ahead of the actual effecting of the amendments in the law was that there was criticism, obviously, from the private sector about some of the laws, but I specifically want to talk about the minimum wages for farm workers and domestic workers, because there you were looking after vulnerable people. What did you make of the criticism that people said that there would be job losses should these amendments go through?
Everybody will make a threat, but as long as they are here in South Africa and as long as they respect the constitution of the country, as they always say, these laws that we have come about, they emanate from the constitution of the country. And at the same time, what we have seen is that they were employing people who are foreign nationals, but without having an understanding that even the laws are protecting them, whether they are here legally or illegally, they are protected by the same laws. And that is why we are saying all companies and all employers must comply with our legislation, because if they really like or love this country, they must respect the laws and the government of this country.
How do you plan to monitor what someone does in their home or even on their farms? We know in the past some farm owners would actually lock out labour inspectors.
Yes, even now, some of them, they do that. But the fact of the matter is that we're working together with the Trade and Industry. And Trade and Industry and also Agriculture Department as well, we're working together. We have to monitor the implementation and the compliance. That's why we have taken a decision that all companies, irrespective of their numbers, even those that have less than 50 employees, they must give us a report on a yearly basis in terms of the employment equity and also in terms of the compliance with our legislation, so that whatever we do, we will make sure that everybody knows about what they are doing. And unfortunately or fortunately, we are all part and parcel of the ILO. Even the private sector, we always go with them, and they are part of the decisions from the ILO. And when we come back home, they will start to say, no, we don't agree on this. But when they are there internationally, they are part and parcel of the signatory of the ILO conventions, and therefore they have to comply.
And finally, and very quickly, Minister, one of the steps that you've had to take, of course, is to ensure that you have a stronger labour court, you have a stronger CCMA, you have a stronger labour inspectorate. Do you feel that now they are going to be able to do their work?
Yes, they are going to do their work. In fact, CCMA has started the roadshows to discuss these amendments with the private sector and public sector to inform them what is expected out of them. And CCMA is going to intervene now and again. And where we are still having difficulties, that is why we have taken a decision that particularly in the domestic sector and farm sector, that is why we have come up with the sectoral determinations based on the Basic Conditions of Employment Act of this country. And I must say, when we are at the ILO, and in fact, recently I was in UN, South Africa is the best when it comes to the implementation and the laws that we have. And therefore, I just want to caution all the employers that those who don't comply, it will be unfortunate for them one day.
All right, we'll leave it there. And you've heard from the Minister, Labour Minister Mildred Oliphant, joining us today.